Hi, my name is Cheyenne Stewart. I'm a semester 3 practical nursing student at Mohawk College. My student number is 000395086. For my video blog, I will be covering Module 1 on Bikini Atoll, which truly stood out to me and left a lasting impact. If you see me looking over to the right, I'm just reading off of my script, so that's what I'll be doing when I look over. When I first opened the module, the word bikini caught my attention. As a woman, I immediately thought of the word swimsuit. But as I read further, I realized I was learning about something much, much deeper. Bikini Atoll is a ring of coral islands in the Marshall Islands in the Pacific Ocean, with a lagoon at the center. It is a stunningly beautiful place, but also one tied to such tragic history. In 1946, after World War II, the United States chose Bikini Atoll as a site for nuclear weapons testings. This was called Operation Crossroads. Warships were gathered in the lagoon, and nuclear bombs were detonated to observe the effects of it. One explosion went off directly below a fleet of ships, causing massive radioactive contamination that ultimately spread to the lands and affected the community. These communities that had long relied on their islands for food and cultural traditions were forced to flee and because it was unsafe for them to live there. Listening to the podcast Paradise Lost by the Third Pod from the Sun helped me understand how much was truly lost. A paradise once full of life was forever changed by one decision. Scientists still find massive craters at the base of the water and contamination that is still affecting their environment. Thinking about how many generations have been displaced, losing both their homes and cultural connection, left me reflecting on the mental health toll that it must have had on them as well. What disturbed me even more was learning about the connection between Bikini Atoll and the swimsuit. Just days after the bomb test, French designer Louis Réard introduced a two-piece bathing suit. He named it the Bikini because the bomb tests were the headline of the news and the topic of discussion at the time. And he wanted his design to make as of an equally explosive impact. Around the same time, the word bombshell was used to describe women as being glamorous. Learning this history was unsettling. A word associated with such devastation and displacement was ultimately rebranded for the sake of fashion. Now, every time I hear the word bikini or the phrase bombshell, it will mean something very, very differently to me. This module left me with many questions. Before such a destructive test was approved, who decided that the potential benefits outweighed the long-lasting risks? Did the Bikini Islanders have a voice, or were they completely ignored and overlooked? More broadly, it made me wonder how society decides when to use powerful technologies and how those decisions affect people who may not have the power to resist at all. The nuclear test ended decades ago, probably 70 or more years ago, but their effects still remain today. What does this mean for technologies we are developing now that could have even greater long-term consequences in the end? Connecting this to my own life, I've grown up seeing how quickly technology advances and how fast people adapt to it without even asking any questions. Reading about Bikini Atoll reminded me to think more critically. Who benefits from these choices? And why or who might be harmed? As a future nurse, I want to approach new tools and technologies with both curiosity and caution. Progress should not come at the cost of human dignity or the effects it has on communities' environments. In the end, this module left me heavily impacted. Bikini Atoll is more than just a place. It's a reminder of how decisions made in the name of power can ultimately cause irreversible harm. For me, it was a lesson in slowing down, making sure that I'm asking the right questions, and remembering that there's a human side to all technological progress. Thank you so much for listening.